really don't know how I managed to get through this. Hi. Today I'm going to be reviewing Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. I didn't like it. I'm sorry, but I I just didn't like it. I respect the opinion anyone who does, and this is just my opinion. But anyways, I wouldn't be as harsh on this book if it didn't brand itself Harry Potter. I mean, when you associate yourself with a brand, I think it should live up to the live up to the brand, and this doesn't whatsoever. And and also, J.K. Rowling calls it canon, and I think that makes it worse. If it wasn't called canon, you could just dismiss it as a fun parody or something. But this parody fan fiction is called canon. I don't consider it canon, but still. And as I said, it's a parody fan fiction. At least that's what it read to me. The only good thing about this book is that it's a play. I mean, not that it's a play. The fact that it's a play just makes it short. Like it doesn't take a long time to read. So that's the plus point is you don't have to spend so many hours reading it, like you'd have to with like actual thick book. Like that's the only plus point, that you don't lose too much time reading this. Okay, and I guess and it's not just that it's a play. I mean, I get that it being a play would read differently and everything, but still, the story itself is the problem. The characters are out of character. Like you see some semblance of the characters in the books, but that's it. Like they're out of character. It doesn't feel like a Harry Potter book at all. Like it just feels like I really don't know what to call it. I've read better fan fiction. And by the way, Albus, the protagonist, Harry's son, Albus, is a whiny brat and unlikable for the protagonist. Like he gets a lot he gets bullied at school for not living up to his father's name, because apparently this kid just has zero talent in magic or Quidditch. I really don't know how this happened. Like this book just defies genetics when it comes to these children. Like Albus is bad at Quidditch, even though he has two parents, a grandparent and a grandfather, and several uncles who are good at Quidditch. He just is completely bad at it. Like, I don't expect him to be as good, but for him to not even be moderately, like for him to not even be mediocre, like I don't know. But anyways, Scorpius is the only nice one here, and he's one of the plus points of this book. But still, even he doesn't feel like Draco Malfoy's son. It's not because he's nicer or kinder, but I can buy that Draco had a nicer and kinder son. I can buy that Draco raised his son to be better than himself. But there should be some similarity. Like he should feel like Draco's son. And it's not so much that these parents can't have kids completely different from themselves, but when you're reading a sequel about their kids, the kids of these characters, like you just expect to see something that tells you, okay, this is this character's child, like you know. And Rose, oh my God, Rose is even meaner and more judgmental than both Ron and Hermione. I mean, Ron and Hermione were mean, but Rose is kind of mean and judgmental towards Scorpius. When Scorpius apparently has this. Okay, now I'm getting to the plot. So if you don't want to know anything that happens in this book and you just don't want any spoilers, you should click off or get to the end. But anyway, Scorpius, his mom is sick, and apparently there's this rumor that's going around that he's Voldemort's son or something. And Draco wants to shut down the rumors and tries to get Harry and Hermione's help. But they feel like the ministry getting involved would make things worse. I don't know. Hermione is the minister of magic, and Harry is the head of magical law enforcement. But anyway, Albus and Scorpius become best friends when they meet on a train, where Rose just walks off. Albus gets in Slytherin, and Rose is just like, okay, you're Slytherin and friends with Malfoy. Like I can't be associated with you. Okay, but anyway. Like I said, Harry tries to make a lot of effort with Albus, but this brat does not respond. Like during the second year, the first train station on the second year, Harry tries to make nice with him, and Albus like, Dad, you didn't have to come, like. First of all, is there any 12-year-old second year student that gets to the train station on their own? Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, if you're gonna be a brat, make some sense. And also, it wasn't just Albus that Harry came to drop off, it was James. So maybe, brat, Albus, James wanted your father there. Even if you did. Like, ugh. But anyway, I'm gonna try to minimize my frustration with Albus in this book. But anyway, they skip to the third. I don't remember if anything happens in third year, but okay, in fourth year, Amos Diggory visits Harry and tries to get him to. Okay, before that, Hermione and Harry had confiscated a time turner from Theona, and it's a different prototype. You can go back in time as far back as you want, not like in the books where you can only go back an hour at a time or something. And you can actually change the future with this. You can actually change things, and it's not like a closed loop or anything. But time travel doesn't make sense in this book. I mean, I love time travel. I'm perfectly willing to suspend my disbelief and accept that they had another prototype time turner with a more interesting time travel, because I'm more interested when you time travel further back in time, or when you explore different realities or whatever. But this book just did a very bad job with it. So, but anyway, Amos Diggory wants Harry to go back in time and save Cedric, but Harry doesn't want to because he can't mess with time or anything. I mean, he doesn't want to mess with time and anything. And Albus overhears this, and he also meets Delphi, who's apparently Amos Diggory's niece. But anyway, the next day, Harry and Albus have a fight because Harry was giving gifts to his kids. Okay, he gave James the cloak and Lily fairy wings, and he gives Albus. Oh my God! I mean, this part I really think Harry is being kind of like dumb because he gave Albus his blanket that he was wrapped in when he was dropped at the Dursleys' doorstep. I mean, I get that he thought it was a sentimental gift, but still. When he just gave James the cloak and Lily fairy wings, did he really think it was a good idea to give Albus an old blanket, and that Albus would just understand the sentimental value, especially when they weren't in a good place in their relationship? I don't know. But anyway, Albus tells Harry sometimes he wishes he wasn't his father, and Harry tells him sometimes I wish you weren't my son. And I know Harry gets a lot of flack for that. I mean, he should have been the adult and not have said it back, but I don't know. I just partly understand how he got to that stage, because Albus was being so frustrating. Like, Albus was just kept pushing him away, and Albus said it first. I mean, it's not an excuse, but still, he should have been the adult. But still, I can just kind of understand why he got so frustrated with his son to the point of saying this, But anyway, Albus on his first train ride tells Scorpius that he wants to go back in time and save Cedric. And apparently, they try to escape the train, and the trolley lady, y'all. The trolley lady has powers. Not a human being. What does she shoot out of her hands? I don't remember. But she shoots something out of her hand, whatever pastry thing she has in the trolley. Apparently, she shoot them out like powers or whatever, and she tries to stop them from getting out of the train. But they somehow manage to still get out of the train. Okay, then they go to visit Amos Diggory, and Delphi joins them to help, and they manage to. They polyjuice potion themselves as Harry, Ron, and Hermione, which doesn't make sense. I mean, I know I should stop trying to find logic in this book, but since I'm reviewing, I have to talk about all the illogical things in this book, which are way too many. In the book, it takes about like a month or two to make the polyjuice potion, but apparently they could just make it right there and then. Like, my God. And they polyjuice potion as Harry, Ron, and Hermione, and they go to steal a time turner, but then Harry and Hermione show up. So Albus, who's Ron, has to be the one distracting Hermione because because Scorpius and Delphi are Harry and Hermione. And he makes out with his aunt several times just to distract her. It is so weird. But anyway, they manage to steal the time turner because Hermione apparently just is so irresponsible. She thinks that the time turner is protected with just a riddle in a book that they could easily just figure out. Like, the time turner was supposed to be something so important and something they didn't want to get in the wrong hands, and she protected with a riddle. But anyway, they go back in time to the Trivisit tournament during the first task to disarm Cedric. And they wear Durmstrang robes because if they wore Hogwarts robes, that people would know they aren't from there because they know. Apparently, everyone just knows every Hogwarts student or something. But anyway, they wear Durmstrang robes and they run into young Hermione. And Hermione apparently doesn't notice the similarity between Albus and Scorpius and Harry and Draco, even though they're supposed to look alike and they're the same age. But anyway, she sees them disarm Cedric from the tournament, and they go back in time because they can only go back in time 5 minutes. Then they're automatically transported back to the present. But when they go back to the present, Albus is a Gryffindor, and apparently Ron and Hermione never got married. Ron marries Padma Patil and has a son, Panju. How this happened, do you ask? How did disarming Cedric lead to that? Because Hermione apparently doesn't try. When she saw Albus and Scorpius disarm Cedric, she stopped trusting Durmstrang students and doesn't go to the ball with Crumb. And Ron doesn't get jealous, and apparently he takes up with Padma in the ball, and he goes to the ball with Hermione, but he still takes up with Padma. It doesn't make sense because even if Ron didn't get jealous then, like eventually Hermione would have gone up to someone and he would have got jealous, wouldn't he? And he wasn't interested in Padma at all in canon, but how would he suddenly become interested in her when he went to the ball with Hermione? Like, it didn't make sense to me, but like I said, I should stop trying to find logic in this book. But anyway, they decide to go back in time to fix it because, well, Rose doesn't exist anymore, and apparently Hermione's a mean teacher. She becomes Snape just because she doesn't get married. That's something that happens in this book. And one of the out of character moments that I mentioned. So they go back, and instead of just fixing what they did and coming back to normal and stop trying and learning their lesson not to mess with time, these brats, I'm sorry I'm using the word brat a lot, but still, these stupid children decide to go back to the second test. And not children, because Scorpius is the more reasonable one. Albus is the one who insists he must save Cedric. I'm all for saving Cedric, but you just mess with time and, like, forget it, man. So anyway, he goes to the second task and he humiliates Cedric. Then they go back in time to a dark reality where Harry dies. And it's Voldemort Day, and Voldemort rules the world, and Umbridge is headmistress. How did this happen, did you ask? How did Cedric being humiliated lead to this? Apparently Cedric was only one step away from becoming a Death Eater, like the kind, fair, good Cedric. And being humiliated turned him into a Death Eater, and he kills Neville. And Neville doesn't kill Nagini, and Harry dies. That doesn't make sense at all. I mean, forget whether or not Cedric become a Death Eater and kill Neville, but even if he did, like, no one else really kill Nagini. Like, no one else was there to kill Nagini with everyone on their side. And even if Nagini didn't get killed, wouldn't Voldemort still have died, but with one more Horcrux to resurrect him? I don't know. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but so anyway, they decide they have to. So they again have to go back and fix things. And Snape is still alive, by the way. It doesn't make sense. If I remember correctly, didn't Snape die before Neville killed Nagini? So how is Neville not being there to kill Nagini? I mean, how does Neville not being there to kill Nagini lead to Snape not dying? Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, he goes to Snape for help, and apparently Ron and Hermione are the only order members left along with Snape, and they're trying to take him down, just the three of them, and they're underground or whatever. So anyway, they help Scorpius. Albus doesn't exist anymore because Harry's dead. So Scorpius manages to go. I think they managed to go back to the second task and stop them from humiliating humiliating Cedric. And all this while, of course, the adults are trying to find them or whatever, but they go back and everything's apparently back to normal. And I think at one point, I don't remember like exactly what happens in this book. Everything's back to normal, and then twist, like it's not really even a shocking twist, like it's just like okay, like apparently Delphi is Voldemort's daughter, like shocker, okay. And apparently Voldemort had a daughter with Bellatrix. Like if she was supposed to be pregnant in the books, she was born during like a 6th book or something, which doesn't make sense because that I don't know, and does it even make sense that Voldemort and Bellatrix, like I don't know. And Bellatrix was married, and apparently her husband's the one, like Rodolphus or something, Rodolphus or whatever Bellatrix's husband's name was. Is the one who tells Delphi that he's Voldemort's child and he wants her to save Voldemort. But did Voldemort have an affair with your wife? Like, you're still supporting him? I don't know. Okay, whatever. But like everything about this book is whatever with me. Like, so anyway, Delphi wants a dark reality. She wants her father to win. So they go back to the third. I don't know how they ended up going to the third task. Oh, Delphi thinks saving Cedric's the key, so she goes to the third task. And Albus and Scorpius manage to stop her and get Cedric to go through the third task as normal. But again, this doesn't make sense because according to this stupid book's logic, Cedric becomes a Death Eater because he was humiliated in the second task. But in this third task, he wasn't humiliated. Like, why would he still become a Death Eater simply because he didn't win the task? Unless they think even lower of Cedric that him simply not winning the Trivisit tournament would make him a Death Eater. So technically, I think they could have saved Cedric and still in this third task and still have had things go as normal, except Cedric's alive and Harry doesn't date Cho. But anyway, they only have 5 minutes, so Delphi takes them back to 1981 because she decided that she's going to go and stop Voldemort from killing Harry. She goes back to Halloween 1981, and the adults are still trying to find the kids. And apparently, Deus Ex Machina, Draco has another time turner, but they don't know which time to go back. Wouldn't you go back to 1995 because they're trying to save Cedric, right? I don't know. But anyway, they don't know what time to go back into, so they just sit there waiting, trying to find clues. And Albus managed to send a message to Harry through the blanket by writing the time that they're in, the date. So they managed to go and they managed to stop Delphi and oh, okay, happy ending. Like, okay, that's about much of the plot that I'm willing to tell. I'm already done reenacting this plot. But I am not done complaining about this book. Firstly, Ron. Ron is just a total joke in this book. Like a bigger joke than Fred. I mean, I don't think Fred Weasley's a joke. Fred is actually cool and funny, but Ron is just like a joke. Like they try to make him Fred Weasley, but in an even worse way. And he's a grown man, which is weird. And who else? Yes, Harry. Harry just brings down the Ministry, threatens to bring down the Ministry on McGonagall if she doesn't agree to spy on Albus and Scorpius for him with the Marauders map. And he's also very jealous on Scorpius, and he's on Albus and on Scorpius. Who else? Oh, Hugo. Apparently, in the we see Ron and Hermione have 2 children, right? But Hugo isn't mentioned in this book at all. I actually thought he didn't exist in this book until like some part in the end where they say Ron and Hermione have 2 children, a son and a daughter, and I'm like, oh, so Hugo still exists. Because he's not in the first scene either. Like in the book he was, and here he isn't. I guess in the first scene they reenact the first scene in the beginning, and they just switch things around a bit, like switch dialogues and add things that weren't in the book. But there's no Hugo here. There's no Hugo at all, like until like somewhere in the end where they mentioned they have 2 kids. And do I have anything else to complain about this book? I'm sorry. I have to complain. But anyway, that's all I have to say about this stupid book. I really wish it didn't exist. The only plus point is that it's a pretty book. I mean, it's beautiful and everything. But still, my goodness, I'm just worn out talking about this book. Anyway, please let me know what you think about The Cursed Child. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? And if you like this video, please remember to like, subscribe, and comment down below. Thank you.